Hey everyone, we're Sean and Allison McManus from Spoken Garden, and today in our session, we're going to talk to you about 30 new plants we got to grow last year that are going to be new and available to you this year.
I know, we're so excited to show these to you and highlight these because we think you're going to love these. But before we get to that, we wanted to introduce ourselves in case we're new to you. Again, we're Sean and Allison. We're ornamental plant care teachers on YouTube, on Instagram. We love teaching about plants and flowers, as you can see by the title of our book.
Yep, so I'm the horticulturist, she's the teacher, and we help people become better gardeners.
So today we're going to break down, with all the new plants, we're going to break down 10 annuals, 10 perennials, and 10 veggies or herbs that we grew last summer. We can't wait to share.
Yep. And these are available through all these different companies. We were lucky enough to have them sent to us to trial last year to then show you right now.
And you can find, hopefully you'll be able to find all of these plants very easily, either at your local garden centers, maybe some of the bigger box stores might carry these, but also online for some of the companies.
Yep, so definitely check around. And we have a free downloadable sheet for you that'll show where you can find all 30 of these plants online. So definitely scan that QR code so you can get our download.
Plus, we have some discounts from some of our partners, so yes, definitely check that out. So as we get started here, we wanted to introduce our garden. We have a very small space garden. We're actually borrowing space from my mom's yard, so everything we grow is in some type of container.
Yep, we're lucky enough to be able to grow these plants all together. And you can see here, there's a lot of different kind of growing conditions, or you can assume there are from all these different pictures. And so the plants we're going to talk to you about today are in these pictures.
So we're going to start off with some of our favorite annuals that we grew last summer. And we have 10 different ones to show you from companies like Proven Winners, Way of Gardening, and Beacon and Patience.
Yeah, so first up, it's 3 new super Petunias that we got to grow. There's the Tiara Blue, the Tiara Pink, and the Mini Vista Plum Veined.
And we absolutely loved all 3 of these plants. We grew them in many different conditions, again, all in containers, some mixed with other perennials or other annuals. You can see that now the Tiara Blue and the Tiara Pink are just gorgeous. They really just pop anywhere that we saw them around our garden. They have this beautiful glowing center that just kind of emanates out, and it looks like, that's why they named it Tiara. It kind of looks like a crown almost.
And all these plants did really well in these different growing conditions and these containers. So right here, you can see a progression of growth from the Mini Vista Plum Vein, and it's beautiful. And, you know, from June to August, it just literally just spread everywhere and undulated out of that container. And it just popped every time we saw it.
It did. And what we love that Mini Vista line that they have with Super Petunias, because they're just these tiny little petunia flowers. So very highly recommended. Okay, oh, wow. This is probably one of our favorites. Well, they're all our favorites, but this annual that they're introducing this year is Virtuoso. It's a new dahlia series they're introducing. It actually has 5 different colors, but we were lucky enough to grow 4 of them. It's very hard to pick a favorite.
Yeah, and you might be thinking to yourself, wait a minute, dahlias, they're a bulb. Don't they just keep coming back every year? And yes, you're right, but these are being sold and marketed as annuals.
They are. And so here's kind of a smattering of some different areas we grew them around the garden, different plants we paired them with, or we grew them by themselves, like the Dayglow Yellow on the bottom there. They were just so easy to care for. They weren't fussy. They had really sturdy stems.
Yeah.
We really enjoyed these.
Yeah, they were beautiful. And you can see some of them in these pictures are glowing. You know, it's kind of funny. We didn't get to watering everything on a regular basis or as much as we wanted to this past summer. And so even with a little bit of lack of water, these did perfectly fine.
I love the yellow center and that pinkerific too, that pink one.
Now, next up, the Scaevola series, Gardiva. Whoa.
These are really, if you like that star-shaped flower, and this is a fan flower, these are just really fun to design with and grow. They grew in a lot of different conditions. partial shade, mostly full sun.
Yeah, and this star diva, it literally is a star. It is the diva of your garden. It can be, because if you look at these, I know you look at these, look how much they pop out there. Look how much they just draw your eye, and even the texture of the flowers.
Now we kind of just had fun designing with these. We made a couple different all white containers just to kind of play around with different shapes and textures. And yeah, really Star Diva definitely took over and kind of, it didn't really crowd everything out. It more trailed over.
It did. Yep. And now here's the other two Star Divas. Beautiful. And you can see we have them in a couple different kinds of containers there. One's a self-watering container on the left. That's a crescent garden container. And then on the right, it's just a terracotta glazed pot. But you can see we really packed those plants in there. And even this with the Star Diva in there and spreading out, all the other plants did perfectly fine. And, you know, we mixed all these with perennials, other perennials and annuals. So there was a good mix of plant material in there.
Great pollinator attractors. All of these are, especially this line as well. We cannot talk well or like highly enough about this Cupia series. This is a brand new series they're introducing this year called Totally Tempted, and it comes in 4 different colors. We love them all. I think Frosted Violet on the far right is probably our favorite.
It is. It really is. And with that name, Totally Tempted, I feel tempted with these plants because they're also beautiful, and those bright, bright colors.
Well, and the pollinators loved these plants.
Oh, yes.
The hummingbirds loved them. The bees loved them. It was very, very popular.
It was. And look how we have them planted, whether they're in terracotta glaze pots, they're in resin plastic, or they're in those raised beds there, those horse troughs. They all did really, really well.
And that was a fun one to pair and design with as well. Very unfussy in the garden. We really didn't have to do much to them.
Yeah, a lot of drought tolerance with them. So they're a really hardy, sturdy plant.
I know. This next one is, we highly recommend as well. This is a beautiful heliotrope. They've named it Aeromagica. It kind of was magic.
It was literally magic out there.
Literally covered in bees, like all summer into the fall. The bees love this plant.
And you can see how we had it planted out in our garden, a couple different angles on it. And, you know, also not only is it beautiful from a distance or up close, but it has a very sweet smelling flower. Unfortunately, there were so many pollinators on it all the time. We didn't feel safe enough walking up to it and actually smelling the sweet fragrance.
We didn't really want to disturb them, right?
No.
You can see in that that picture on the right, all that Cupia we just introduced you to is growing in the background. So that's that same planter. We just, like you said, we packed everything in. You can see later in the season how big those got.
Definitely. Definitely. Oh, this was another great one.
You know, who doesn't love a shade plant? I mean, this is a beautiful Impatiens from Beacon Impatiens, and we just have a lot of really good things to say about this.
We do. It trailed, it mounded over perfectly. It's in a hanging basket without the wire on it on that little table there, and it filled it in perfectly, really fast. You can see how lush those green leaves are. It stayed like that all year, all season. It was just beautiful. You can see a little progression here of the growth of this impatient. Now, it came to us a little bit smaller, so we had to do some pruning and just kind of pinch it in some places to get it to kind of really flush up and you know, grow out. And you know, another great thing about this impatient is it literally self-cleaned itself with the dead flowers. It's self-deadheaded. We didn't have to go through and pick them off. They would just, the old flowers would fall off and the new flowers would come up right behind it. And it was just full of flowers all the time.
I mean, who doesn't want all of their plants just to take care of themselves? I mean, it's so easy.
Sounds nice to me.
When you're busy, it was wonderful. So we love the shape of it. Yeah, this is a great plant.
Ooh, next one. Ooh, easy wave.
You know,
Navy velour.
This was a fun, okay, so another petunia from Wave Gardening. This is an Easy Wave in their Easy Wave line, and this just had a gorgeous color. This is brand new this year.
Yeah, you can see from the pictures here, it has, those flowers do have a velour, like a velvet even look, but definitely even a feel to them. And so these were really fun for us to grow out in our garden.
This was a fun, yeah, this was very fun to design with as well. All right, we just had the one plant sent to us, so it would have been interesting to kind of pair it with in other ways, but we did grow it in a container. It definitely trailed out and over. You can see different light levels of the pictures we got.
Yeah,
and the color is just gorgeous.
Beautiful.
Really pretty.
Oh, next up, another impatient, but this is Solarscape XL, and we've got to grow Pink Jewel and Lilac Spark.
Love the colors.
Really fun.
You know, Pink Jewel there on the left, that bright hot pink was so gorgeous and partial shade. It was chosen as an AAS winner, which means it was bred and selected and judged by people all over the US for various categories.
Beautiful, gorgeous. And you can see right here, there's just a progression of this impatient right here, just beautiful. It started out a little bit smaller. Again, we had to do some finer pinching or pruning on it, but it filled out really fast, and we just gave it all the water it needed. And in this shaded spot, it just took over that container and just mounded right over.
It did, and it got a little bit of morning sun, just in case you're wondering. But this one was in full sun most of the day, at least
Most of the day.
the first half of the day, and it performed very well. The color is gorgeous, so highly recommend.
And you can see too, those flowers, they just kept their delicateness even in that full sun. It was really fun to grow.
Really fun. Those should be available by seed this year.
Yeah, so hula begonias.
This is a fun one.
This is one of my favorites. Yeah, I really
Yeah.
like this one because this was not only was it easy to grow in that basically almost full shade, maybe a little bit of sun area that we grew it in, but it didn't take a lot of fussiness with it. It was super easy to grow. We had to just water about maybe once a week, and it just took over and mounded and trailed over with all these bright white flowers.
It did, and having a plant like that in the shade is so much fun because it just glows, and it just adds a lot to your shade garden. The hula line is hula begonia. They have lots of other colors, and again, this is just white. This, it spreads horizontally. So I would have loved to have had more time to grow this in a larger container to see how it performed.
Or on the ground, maybe it would.
Oh, that would have been fun. Yeah.
Oh, this was one of our favorites.
This was
Beautiful.
awesome.
Actually, these are all our favorites.
We get excited about marigolds. I mean,
well, who doesn't?
Who doesn't?
Yeah. So this was a really fun one to grow because it wasn't like you're growing your normal marigolds. A lot of marigolds, they'll grow a little bit taller. Maybe the flowers aren't as big. These had really big flowers, but it had more compact size to the whole plant.
They were huge flowers. I mean, we loved this yellow pop everywhere. We planted them all over near our tomatoes and some of the other veggie gardens that we grew last summer. And this was the only annual from this list that we grew from seed.
Oh, yeah.
And they grew very productively, as you can see. And they kept blooming until probably November last year in our Pacific Northwest.
Yep.
We also grew this one in the ground and containers, and no problems either way. Very easy.
Yep. So that's it for all our annuals. We're going to jump into the perennials now.
All right, this will be fun. Oh, there's so many beautiful plants. So starting off with probably one of our favorites of many. This hydrangea is brand new from First Editions Shrubs and Trees, being introduced this year. It's called Flowerful. It's full of white flowers.
Yeah, and being a smooth hydrangea, it just adds its own beauty to your garden. And we really like having this in our garden.
It grows well in the ground or in containers. We have ours, of course, in a container right now, and it could get up to 3 to 4 feet tall and 4 to 5 feet wide. So that's a great compact size for a hydrangea.
Keep that in mind if you're going to choose this for your garden. Now, here's some photos of it out in the garden or in a display garden. And so you can see it's a really versatile type of hydrangea. I mean, you can put it in a lot of different situations.
I know. I just love this. And I can't wait to see this in bloom this year. So Flowerful will be on the market. Another flower coming out from First Edition Shrubs and Trees is Big Beauty Gardenia.
Yes, this is beautiful. And like most gardenias, it has a wonderful smell. So you can see by that flower, it's a semi-double. It's a beautiful full flower, and it was prolific throughout the whole plant.
It's a huge shrub as well. So if you can keep it more compact, which is probably what we'll do in our garden for now, but it can grow up to 6 to 7 feet tall and wide. So It's got a beautiful big mounding form.
Yep, and you can see we've got that deer emblem up there. It's deer resistant. So if you have a problem with deer in your garden, this is a great plant to grow.
That's always nice if you need that.
Yep.
So you can see on the left there, the big kind of full shape of Big Beauty Gardenia, and it just covered in huge white flowers.
Beautiful. Yeah. Oh, chase tree.
This is another fun. We love spiky shaped flower. Well, what flower don't we love? But a spiky shape is really fun. It's very attractive to bees and even hummingbirds. This Vitex is brand new this year, called Violet Mist.
Yep, from First Edition Shrubs and Trees. You can see here, there's a better close-up of that flower. Yeah, that spike, it's that spike of all these smaller flowers that literally open from the bottom, and then they progress to open all the way up to the top of that spike. And just a beautiful, beautiful plant.
It's a long bloomer as well, and it also is deer resistant. That's always nice.
Oh, yeah. and drought resistant. And so here it is in the situations, a couple different situations in our garden. You can see it's in full sun, doing really well in that container. And so, yeah, really fun
Can't
plant to
wait
grow.
to see that this year.
Ooh, double
Okay,
scoop watermelon deluxe.
This is probably our favorite of all the other favorites. We are big fans of echinacea, and we grow a lot of different echinacea in our garden. So this is a double, which a lot of people and out there, a lot of coneflower aficionados don't really love the doubles.
No, they don't. Well, some people think it's not as attractive or as useful to pollinators, or it deters certain pollinators. We're here to tell you that didn't happen in our garden.
Not with this one.
So yeah, and these are beautiful. I love the name double scoop.
It's
just
cute.
it reminds me of
Getting a double scoop of ice cream. But I know we're not talking about food here, but this is fun.
But
So
it's so cute, and the color is just gorgeous, vibrant, hot pink. We had it planted. We had 3 different plants, I believe, and then we had them all kind of around in different areas of the garden, all in containers. Some of them planted by themselves. Others were in like mass plantings of different perennials and annuals. Oh, it just makes me so happy seeing this. I don't know why.
yeah. And you know what? These bloomed for a really long time in our garden. I mean, we were having flowers until pretty much December.
I know, they went forever.
So yeah,
in containers too.
Yeah.
So highly recommend this double echinacea. If you want to give it another try in your garden, if you're not into the doubles, we recommend this one.
definitely. Okay, so Centaurea Silver Swirl. This is a fun one. Now, you might be thinking, hey, that looks like Dusty Miller. And you're kind of right. It's related, but it's not Dusty Miller. This is its own Centaurea. And Silver Swirl is beautiful for that silver leaf, that texture it gives.
Well, and they're kind of, the leaves are kind of swirly, so it's fun to design with, and we had fun pairing it with other colored flowers, so it really set off the other foliage and flowers.
Yeah, and if you're wondering, yes, this Centaurea does flower. You can see that up there on the screen, but we really didn't grow it or want to grow it for its flower. So, but if you're looking for a bright yellow flower, this can do the trick, and you'll also get the swirl of the leaves and that silver color.
This is a really unique plant. Here's another kind of silver themed plant, and we're big fans of salvia. Anytime a new salvia comes out, we want to try it. We actually grew a couple from Proven Winners, but this one was Darwin Perennial Silver Scent. It has this gorgeous kind of soft silvery greenish colored foliage.
Yep, there you can see it there on the screen. It's got that leather look to it too, just like a normal perennial salvia. And so this was really fun. And if you go up, just like other salvia, if you just crush those leaves a little bit, rub them in your fingers, you can smell it. Oh, so good.
So good. And so let alone the beautiful spiky kind of bluish purple flower, which attracted tons of pollinators. You cannot go wrong with salvia.
No, definitely not. And you can see right here, so we've got all the Darwin perennials in this one container. There's your echinacea, there's your silver swirl, and then your salvia. And so we put this whole thing together. Actually, Allison planted all these together. And so this was really fun to see. They grew really well together in this resin plastic container. Now, if you're wondering what the plant in the center is, that is a false Dracaena, and that was from an older planting. And so we just put it all together. It worked really well.
That one was kind of a surprise too.
It was.
So here's another angle, kind of a front view, and you can see just those sturdy stems of the echinacea. We just had so much fun growing that.
Oh yes.
All right. So now we're on to the Proven Winners perennials that we grew last summer. These are just a few of them. These were all sent to us by Walter's Gardens. So Summerific is a very well-known line of hibiscus from Proven Winners. This is one of their new ones, Cookies and Cream.
Yes, and this was really fun to grow because you can see that flower there, but
literally they were like this big.
Huge.
They were huge flowers, and it was prolific throughout the whole plant.
Well, and like, let alone the beautiful flower, it's the foliage color, right? Yeah. It's that dark. A lot of people are still going with that dark foliage theme, which still is pretty popular.
Yeah, on the screen you can see that contrast of the bright white flowers and then that dark foliage. It just drew the eye, and it was so just apparent out in the garden.
And it is such a perfect name. Yeah. So we have a couple conditions to show you. We've got on the top left there, we took that in Michigan a couple years ago in the Walters Gardens trial area. So they had just been breeding that and growing that. The other shots are from our garden. We were growing it in a container, and it actually bloomed quite late in the season for us.
A little bit, yeah, and it was okay. But you can also see in the lower hand corner on the left hand side there that dark foliage. You can
see some of the newer growth coming in too. And so it's fun to
see that difference in the light new growth and then the darker older growth. And so that was really fun for us to grow in our garden.
It's a beautiful hibiscus.
Yeah. Ooh, Webmaster Tradescantia. Say that 3 times.
I know. And I mean that it's known by its common name, spiderwort, which I don't really love that name. But it's a beautiful plant. This is a really fun one to grow in anything from shade to full sun. So this was a very versatile plant.
It is. And so it's a really fun and unique plant because it's got a trifoliate flower. It has it's a 3-petaled flower. So it's very unique.
And just that light kind of lilac lavender color, just the different, just the coloration in the flowers, I thought was very beautiful. It really was. We had it in kind of a morning sun, just a couple hours of morning sun, but mostly shade the rest of the day. And it was a beautiful plant to see in that condition.
Definitely, yeah.
And you can see from the pictures, it not only has the open flowers, but it has clusters of newer flowers that are coming up behind it, getting ready to open up and flower. And so it was a prolific flower in our garden this last year.
Yeah, that'll be fun to see in bloom again.
Next up, ooh, yes, Designer Threads Golden Needles Coreopsis.
If you're a Coreopsis fan or kind of that daisy flower look, you'll like this one. This color, it had a very vibrant center with that red. It just popped.
And that the yellow tip on each one of those petals of the flowers accentuated that pop of the red too. So you can see it's very striking, especially from a distance, but also up close.
It really was striking. In this Designer Threads line, they have another color or two available at provenwinners.com. So definitely a full sun lover. We kind of had ours in all afternoon sun and it did really well. The picture on the right is from Proven Winners. So that's more of a mass kind of ground planting.
You can see how thick it grew too. It was just so dense in all those flowers.
Yeah, definitely. That's fun. So right next to it, in the same container, was kind of a favorite of ours. This was a touch of blush. It's a false sunflower, Heliopsis.
Yep. And you can see those flowers look like a sunflower, but it's not a true sunflower.
But I think like the flower is beautiful, but the foliage was what stole the show on this plant. The foliage is so beautiful. You can see it below that flower there on the left. It's just this gorgeous variegation, and it's kind of piped in a touch of blush. And if you flip the flower over, it has kind of this blush look to it. It's just gorgeous.
Yeah, it's beautiful. You know, you can
see up here on the screen, it flowers for quite a long time, early summer to fall. So it'll be a prolific flower out in your garden. And now here's some examples from our garden in those leaves, that variegation, and then the contrast with the bright yellow flowers.
Isn't that just gorgeous? Yep. I just can see that paired with so many other flowers.
Definitely.
So you can find that at provenwinners.com.
Yep. And so that's it of the perennials. Let's jump into the veggies and herbs.
I know this is, this is just a fun area to talk about. There are so many more plants we could have added to this list, but these are the ones we wanted to highlight.
Only have so much time.
I know, right? Then starting off with an herb. This is a really fun basil. We love basil. We love it. So this basil is very versatile. It's by the Kitchen Minis line. And basically you can grow these indoors or outdoors. They're bred to be tiny, small leaved, and you can grow them on your countertop. If you want to.
Yep. You can grow them also outdoors in raised beds or right in the ground. Yeah, these are just bushy, super dense stemmed basil plants, and these were really fun to grow for us.
They were it was fun to have a small leaved basil just to add to lots of different dishes, salads, soups.
Definitely.
And days to harvest is minimal, 21 to 28 days, so you can't go wrong with that. Now next, Everleaf Lemon Basil. Oh man, another basil.
Another basil. I know, we love basil. Now, this is available from Burpee by Seed, and this Everleaf line that has been introduced is a really fun basil to grow because they grow columnar. They're very upright. We even had to cage ours with a tomato cage.
Yeah, I know, and that was really fun to do that with. And now this one has a little bit longer days to harvest, that day length or those number of days to harvest, but it's not that bad at all. And this one was fun to grow. Like you said, it had that columnar shape. So not only could you use it in some of your different dishes, but it had a lot of landscape value too.
It's lemon. I mean, you can't go wrong with lemon flavored anything.
Definitely. Here's a couple pictures of it out in our garden. And again, those tomato cages, those came in pretty handy.
No, they really did.
Oh, tomatoes.
All right, on to the tomatoes. We have a couple tomatoes to share with you out of so many more that are coming out. But this unicorn red is a small cherry tomato size. And this was a very prolific grower. It's an indeterminate tomato plant, so it just kept going and going.
Mm-hmm.
And we got a lot of fruit off of this plant.
We did, yeah. And the days to harvest, not too bad for a tomato. So yeah, this was great. Like Allison said, it was prolific. We used it in a lot of different dishes. It was fun for us to grow.
So fun. So you can see, obviously we had to cage these as well. We had to cut these back a couple times because we kind of ran out of room in our small space.
And they kept growing.
It kept growing and growing.
So,
and another tomato, beefsteak. You can't go wrong with a beefsteak tomato.
And we're up here in the Pacific Northwest is where we're gardening, and beefsteaks are kind of hard for us. Usually we have to start them very early.
we have a very short growing season here.
And these were sent to us by plant in May. So we kind of did get these in a little later, but we were able to harvest some fruit and they were delicious.
Yeah.
And you can see days to harvest. It's actually quite low for a beefsteak. So that's really fun. But this is different from the unicorn tomato because that one was indeterminate. This is a determinate tomato. So it's only going to have one flush of a crop and then it's pretty much done. So you want to really maximize all of the flowers to get all those tomatoes.
And the name Wonder Star and then Unicorn, those are just awesome. Awesome names.
They are the fun.
Oh, here's a couple pictures of it so you can see on the left-hand side. We were looking at it right before it was ready to harvest. Wasn't quite ripe yet. So,
all right, moving on.
Man.
We got a couple squash to share with you. Sean literally, I should let you talk about this one. This is one of your favorites.
Oh, yes. This summer squash, before growing this, I was kind of like squash, whatever.
It's okay.
We grew this. I loved it. It was great because it was so prolific and it had all these little squashes on them. They were only maybe about this big max.
Even smaller.
Yeah,
almost more
a lot of them were just kind of like this, but some of them got this big. And so it just kept producing and producing and producing. And these were so tasty just to cube up or slice and, throw on the grill, put on a cookie sheet, bake. It was awesome.
We grew these in a couple different locations and situations. We had this in an in-ground kind of raised bed situation right up against a garage where they got a lot of heat. Those grew very prolifically. And then we had these in a fabric bag kind of raised bed type bed.
Yeah, and these were fun to grow too. We got them as little starts of plants, but days to harvest, 40 to 45. Yeah. That's not that much.
No, and you can find these in a couple different spots. So we recommend.
Definitely.
You can see a whole bunch of.
Oh, look at all those. I'm already starting to taste it.
I know. I can't wait to grow these again.
Yes.
We will grow those again for you.
Yes. Oh.
So another squash for you zucchini lovers out there. Rocio summer squash. This was I really liked this zucchini a lot. It tasted just kind of creamy, almost like just really smooth.
I know.
And I'm not really a zucchini guy. I'm not big on zucchini. These were pretty good.
They were good. We added them to a lot of dishes and as you usually do. Days to harvest 50 to 52, so not too long. They're not a large zucchini, but they did have they were very prolific.
And you can see a couple pictures here that we took over this past summer. It was just like the golden griller where it just kept producing and producing more and more all the time. It was great. Oh,
now we've got a couple peppers to share with you. This is a fun new series called Sweet Canyon. It's from Burpee, so you're going to be able to find these by seed or possibly by plant in some of the bigger box stores.
Yep, these were really fun to grow because there's actually 3 different colors, and we'll show you that in just a minute. But yeah, these were so sweet. And there was quite a few that this plant actually produced for us, and so we were kind of surprised because a lot of times when we have pepper plants, we grow them. They don't produce a lot for us because, again, we're so far north and we don't have so many heat days.
Well, this was similar to the Wonder Star tomato for us, the big beefsteak, because it's a 70 to 90 day harvest. And we got these sent to us in May. So we got them in right away. But, we didn't get like the yellow or orange coloration on the peppers, which I really wanted. So had they been in a little bit longer, we definitely got red, but we didn't get some of the longer ones or the other colors.
But even green, you can see we have them there in our pictures from our garden green. They were so flavorful. And so we would recommend these to anybody because they were super easy to grow.
Yeah, definitely. And we have another pepper. This was more of I'm not a huge spicy pepper fan. I'll try them, but.
No, I like more spicier food. And this was kind of at the threshold of my spiciness that I like. And so, yeah, these were really fun to grow. Skyline Red F1 Thai chili peppers. Yeah, these were really fun because we would harvest them and I would take them and I put them in and cook them with our meat. and it added a lot of flavor
That
to
was
our meats.
really
Oh yeah.
So that was a fun one. So if you like trying new peppers, you know, there's always new peppers every year. We did get quite a good crop of these. So then they did keep producing quite a lot through the summer.
Yeah, if you're looking to grow a pepper that's got a lot of zing to it, and I'm using zing as a spiciness, these are the ones you want to grow.
On to probably the prettiest broccoli out there.
There's the prettiest broccoli I've ever
at least the
seen.
one that we've grown. This is called Purple Magic. And this actually was chosen as an AAS winner in the vegetable category for several reasons.
Oh yeah, it's just, I love that color.
And so the heads are pretty good size. And so, yeah, they were each about, you should get heads about 14 to 15 ounces in weight. So that's a pretty good sized head. Yeah, so 90 days to harvest, which isn't too bad. And these were specifically bred to be heat tolerant. So that's always a good idea with broccoli.
It really is, especially if you have a short season, you know.
And you don't want them to bolt.
And they're just pretty to grow in your garden. I mean, even the like stems and leaves are beautiful.
Yeah, so. Very unique for a broccoli. So that's it for all the plants we wanted to show you today in our session. But now for our favorites.
This was so hard, by the way, to figure this to break this down. So my annual pick of my fave was the Pinkerific Virtuoso Dahlia from Proven Winners. I couldn't get over the color and just the size of the dahlia flower itself. They just kept going and going all summer. My perennial pick is definitely the Echinacea, the double scoop watermelon. I loved it for many reasons. Mm-hmm. And my vegetable pick was the zucchini because it just tasted so good.
Oh, definitely. So my favorites really quick, the Star Diva Scaevola from Proven Winners. That was just so beautiful as an annual and a new annual for us to grow. I definitely want to grow it this year. So just like Allison, that double scoop watermelon, Deluxe Echinacea. Oh, yes. As a perennial, definitely my favorite. I want to definitely grow that one again. I want to put it all over our garden.
We've got a lot of them coming back.
So, and then for the vegetable, definitely that golden griller. It went well with steak, with pork chops, even with chicken. It was awesome.
No, we got to grow that. We need to get that from seed to get. So in case you saw something you loved that you want to find for yourself for your own garden this year, we hope we were able to give you some inspiration. And this QR code will have the links to all the plants. They might not link right directly to that plant, but it'll take you to the right place to find out what you need.
Yeah, and also on the downloadable is some discount codes from the partners, the plant partners and product partners that we work with. We wanted to pass that along to you. And so with that, thanks, guys. This has been fun.
I know. We hope that you had a good time. We're so excited for our garden now. I don't know about you, but just seeing all those new plants and the colors and just design ideas.
Can't wait to get out there.
Wait.
So thanks for being here, and we'll see you in the chat.
Thank you.
Well, hey, everyone. We're Sean and Allison from Spoken Garden, and we are your hosts for the second weekend of the Great Grow Along.
I know. As always, we are just thrilled to be here. We're so happy you guys are here with us as well. We get to nerd out about plants.
Yes.
We're so excited.
Thank you, everybody, for being here. This is the 5th year of the Great Grow Along, if you didn't know that already.
I know. And, you know, that's really fun. We're celebrating their anniversary with them. We've actually been here speaking for 5 years as well.
Yeah, we have in different ways, different topics.
We're very thankful.
We are. And really quick, we wanted to thank Epic Gardening for being the title sponsor for the whole Great Grow Along Garden Festival. And so thank you, Epic Gardening. Really appreciate that. And there's a lot of other sponsors out there for the Great Grow Along.
I know. And for our session, we also want to thank, in addition to Epic, we want to thank Crescent Garden and Garden Guru Hand Tools. And we're just so grateful to be here. We can't say that enough. We're so used to teaching about bulbs, flowering bulbs, plant care. It was really fun for us to present this to you and all these new plants, and we can't wait to get to all of your questions.
So before we do that really quick, make sure to click through on all the different links for all the different sponsors, show them some love, check out everything they have to offer. Really great.
Right. Yeah. So how do we, we have a lot to talk about. We have some great questions from you guys in the chat. We definitely want to address that. I think, first of all, a lot of you maybe missed the beginning and you were kind of unclear of like where we lived and gardened and whatnot. So we definitely want to start there. I think.
So we're in Tacoma, Washington. We garden in Tacoma, Washington, Zone 9A.
Used to be 8B.
Yes. Kind of from last year's or the year before's update of the USDA hardiness zones. So, yeah.
So we garden in full containers. We just had a question we can't wait to talk about, or we have a very, very small garden space. So the fact that we got to trial 30 new plants is something that you could do as well, because we had a very small space.
Yeah, and Steve, you said, you know, how large is your garden? I could never really try to grow 30 new plants. And really, it's funny you say that, Steve, because we actually trialed probably up to about 90 plants this last year in our container garden setup. And so we picked these 30 because these were basically the ones we really wanted to highlight. Super fun to grow. All of them were really fun to grow, but these were like the highlighted ones that just wowed us the most.
They really did. And sometimes it was just for like the straight up color, like they were just, like you said, a big wow. Often it was because they were really easy to grow, or like for some of the veggies, they produce like crazy.
Yes.
So we're going to kind of break some of that down. Should we jump into some of the questions?
Yeah, let's do some questions.
Okay.
Yeah,
please, if you have any other questions, let us know in the chat. We'll keep an eye on that while we're here.
Yeah.
And also, we thought it would be fun to ask you, did you have a favorite from that list of 30 plants? It was a lot. We kind of bombarded you. Was there anything that really jumped out to you that you're like, I have to find that this year? Let us know in the chat. We would love to hear that.
Love you. So, okay. So first question I have written down here is from Steve. Thank you, Steve. How did you select these 30 plants? Did you have them in mind already, or just never had the time until now? So we kind of answered that already, but there's a little bit more to it.
I know. Well, we definitely grew more than 30. This is maybe an answer to another question as well, but we work with a lot of these companies. We also buy their products. So it's kind of a double thing going on here. There's a lot of, as plant teachers, we have a YouTube channel and a book and whatnot. We work with these companies to trial their plants, to talk about them, to see what kind of growing conditions or what kind of experiences we'll have with them. And
to follow just the cultural needs of the plant on one of the tags or anything we get from the company, we follow that cultural information, and then we apply it in our garden, obviously, and then we see how it does. And some of them do great, some of them maybe don't do as well. And so it's really fun to have that experience. And we have a very unique growing climate up here
where we garden.
And so, yeah, I think that's part of it too, where a lot of these companies, they don't have anybody else growing these for them. And the Pacific Northwest, especially around the Puget Sound, but just Pacific Northwest in general, it's so unique with so many different microclimates and elevation differences and so many other things going on. So it's really helpful for these companies to send us these plants and for us to trial them, get back to them, report back how we did, how they did, and that type of thing.
And I'm glad you brought that up. I don't know if we emphasize this enough. Sean and I are kind of in transition right now with our garden, and we're using my mom's garden space. She literally gave us like half of her garden and just said, here you go. And we're searching for property and getting ready to move ourselves. So it's really fun to have all these container experiences to teach to you guys right now.
And a lot of different kinds of containers
too, whether they're just resin plastics from Home Depot, any of the cheapo kind of more flimsy type thing. Whatever we can find there at Home Depot or Lowe's or whatever, up to even like Crescent Garden. We have a couple Crescent Garden containers, different shapes and sizes, self-watering, not self-watering. And so a lot of these plants get moved around to a lot of these different containers, and even horse troughs and fabric bags.
Just thinking that one of our favorite things is some of you maybe know that we grow a lot of flowering bulbs. That's been our thing for quite a while. And we grew all of our dahlias in Smart Pot, fabric bags.
Yes.
And a lot of other plants. So anyway, we're kind of off track.
And they all thrive. But anyway, so that's a little bit more information about how we grow, where we grow, and kind of what's going on with some of our strategy.
Definitely. Yeah. So, okay.
So next one up is Diane.
Diane, you were wondering, who do we buy from? So are you talking about just all the plants in general or specific companies? Because we do both. So I think you answered in the chat, right?
I did.
In our area, Watson's Greenhouse and Nursery is one of our favorites. We do get some things at the bigger box stores once in a while, and we buy online.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. And especially, so for seeds, we usually go to Eden Brothers, maybe a couple other places like High Country Gardens, Park Seed every once in a while. So yeah, it's kind of just sporadically kind of out there. We go to those different purveyors for different reasons because we know we can trust whatever we buy from them for those specific products. So anyway.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So hopefully that answers your question a little bit better, Diane.
Okay, Rita in the chat asked about Lilac Spark, which was a beautiful annual from the list that we showed you. Lilac Spark is an impatiens. It's an impatiens hybrida.
It's an interspecific.
Interspecific, and it's part of the Solarscape XL line, which means if you're familiar with those out on the market, Solarscape impatiens have a very large flower. And it showed, right? They were huge.
Yeah, they were. If you could, they're about, well, maybe more like that. But even that is a good size flower for impatiens. So anyway, so yeah, they were really fun to grow. They all did really well after a little bit of pruning and pinching. We have a couple YouTube videos on that, on the progression of that from last year. If you ever want to go check that out, and you can find us on YouTube at Spoken Garden, and you'll find our channel and all that stuff. So that was Rita. Lynn wanted to ask, are these plants new to you or new to the market? Very good question.
Oh, you want me? Yeah, there are this whole presentation was brand new plants coming on the market this year. So what the plant companies do usually is we start trialing them the summer or two before that. So
but there was one exception. I don't think we mentioned this in the presentation. The double scoop echinacea, the watermelon echinacea, it was a re-release of that series, of the double scoop series. So that was from Ball or Darwin. That was from Darwin Perennials. And so that was a re-release of the whole series. So we did get to, that was out previously, but they re-released it with a couple other different colors. So
beautiful.
Yeah, gorgeous. Yeah, if you have a chance to grow those, we recommend you do that.
I mean, and you saw in the presentation, that was a favorite for both of us. I mean, the bright pink flowers, the double flower head, they just had such sturdy stems.
They were like this big. It was like 3+ inches in diameter.
They were great. And like rainstorms, windstorms, like the few that we maybe had over the summer, because it was a very dry summer this last year. But I mean, they just stood up so well.
Very sturdy.
Somebody in the chat mentioned they were blooming. They seriously bloomed until about November, December for us this past year.
Which, yeah, we had a very mild fall and winter, start to winter.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, we highly recommend those.
So I think Jane's question.
Jane, is the hula begonia fibrous or tuberous? The hula begonia was a white hula that will be on the market this year. Very beautiful plant, and it is a tuberous.
No, it's fibrous. It's actually fibrous. My handwriting's bad, so she couldn't read my handwriting. It's like chicken scratch, literally. So yeah, and there is a difference in the begonias. Yes, it's a tuberous begonia and there's a fibrous begonia. I mean, it just has a fibrous root system instead of the actual bulb structure, if you wanted to ever know that.
Right, and hula's not a tuberous. Yeah.
Yeah. So sorry about my handwriting.
No, sorry. So Mindy asks, are these new ones distributed nationwide this year? Yes, they should be everywhere. Yes. They are pushing them out. They should. Some of them you might be able to find at the box stores like Lowe's or Home Depot. Others are available online.
Yes, so like Proven Winners as an example. So Proven Winners you can buy directly online from provenwinners.com. All of the annuals we showed you, definitely you can buy those online right now. So some might be pre-orders, some might be just actual plants you'll buy and then they'll ship. So go check that out. And then like Darwin Perennials, they don't direct sell to the public. So it's just the brand. You have to go to your local nursery or possibly to like a Lowe's or big box store to see if they'll have it. You can call ahead, that type of thing, maybe. That's what I would do anyway.
Yeah. So for the difference,
there's some differences in available online versus, through your box stores, whatever. So,
yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So
we hope you find what you want out there because there are so many, so many.
So Carly, Watermelon Deluxe flowering until December. Yes, Carly.
We kind of just covered that too, didn't we? I know.
It's pretty amazing, how mild of a fall and winter it really was, or the start of winter. And then a couple, like maybe about a week or about 2 weeks into winter, we started getting some really cold temperatures and the plant shut down after that.
Yeah, definitely.
So, yeah.
So Joan asked where we're located. We kind of said this already, but we're in Washington State in the Pacific Northwest on the west side of the state. So Tacoma, Washington is where we garden. Okay.
So Diane, you asked, did you make a dedicated effort to only or mostly plant new varieties? Yes and no.
I know. Well, again, a lot of these we answered in the chat already, so we just want to make sure because they were great questions. We basically the new plants were sent to us, or some of them we may have picked up, but like we have a garden. Basically, when we moved a few years ago from our other Tacoma location, like we took a lot of plants with us. We have a ton of perennials in containers, and it's been really fun to mix in all the new plantings with the old plantings. So we have a kind of a hodgepodge mix of a lot of different things going on.
Well, and did you already say this? We mixed the perennials and the annuals.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, when we were mixing bulbs with the herbaceous perennials, hardwoods, I mean, it's so mixed up. It gets to be a lot of fun in its own experiment in itself.
It really was.
So yeah, that was really fun. So I think we had, so Vicky, you asked,
Oh,
what did bonsai basil taste like, say, compared to a standard basil? That's a good question.
that's a great question. Bonsai basil was this cute little, it's meant to be like a countertop basil, and there's other fruits and vegetables in the kitchen minis line.
It's like a dwarf
It's like this,
variety.
yeah, it's this cute little
It's pretty
tiny.
small.
I personally didn't think it tasted. I thought it was just like a regular basil to me. Maybe a little bit sharper taste.
To me, it tasted a little bit sweeter than what I'm used to for basil. So, talk
Yeah,
about
differences.
Palates.
What we loved about it though, the bonsai basil, you didn't have to cut any of the basil up.
No,
They were such
just
tiny, cute little leaves.
Pick it off.
Yeah,
wash it real quick or throw it in a strainer and then plop it in.
it was
really
really
cool.
easy and fast. So, and we love basil. We love putting basil in a lot of our food, salads, soups, different things. So it was fun to have something just ready to go,
Totally.
other than
Yeah.
rinsing off.
No, that
But
was a lot of fun.
yeah, that one
Good question.
should be available by seed this year.
Yes. I think Lisa's next.
Oh, Lisa says Lisa struggles with squash, and it's never. We presented a couple squashes, the one that you loved the most, which it was nice too. I liked it. Golden Griller had like a 40 to 45 day fruiting
Fast.
harvest
Yeah.
time. It was really fast.
So, full disclosure, all of these vegetables were sent to us as starts.
We had a little jump start on the.
Yeah, we had a little jump start even in our climate in the Pacific Northwest because we have a short growing season.
Yeah, so we had starts sent to us, so that was fun. Yeah, like Allison, we got to jump on it. So it produced a lot. It got to that flowering stage really quick. So, but we should still be able to, and you too, Lisa, be able to grow these. And within 40 plus days, you should have flowers and fruit beginning to grow.
Yeah, otherwise the best practices are
and the
handled
and the growing conditions are right for that.
Yeah,
So,
definitely.
And you can do these. You could probably start them indoors, maybe grow them all the way through to indoors, but you might have to worry about some of the flowering and possibly the pollination. But I mean, yeah, not a big deal.
Lots of options though, right?
Yeah.
Lots of options.
Yeah.
Golden Griller, we definitely recommend that.
Now, I can't remember if the golden griller actually if it needs to be pollinated or if it's self-pollinating. So I don't remember that. So check that out if that's if you want to know, because now I want to know. So I'm going to go look it up.
That's a good question.
Yeah.
I know.
Everything. So and also for that, where we planted our golden griller and everything else this last year, it was surrounded by flowers. It was buzzing with pollinators and bees and such. And so we didn't even think about it. We just planted it out there and figured, well, it's going to get pollinated because there's tons of zinnias, marigolds, nasturtiums. I mean, we have so many different the dahlias, huge dahlias. I mean, so it had a lot of pollinators around it. So whether it needed it or not, it had them around.
And we made some videos last summer showing some of the updates, and we grew all the veggies, not all, but most of the veggies we just shared with you. And we grew in Smart Pot fabric bags. So we had, and maybe we can put our YouTube channel in the chat.
Yeah, I'll put that in.
We'll put that in. Our YouTube channel is just called Spoken Garden. We've been teaching on there for probably 4 years now. We have quite a big library of plant care videos. And lately we've been doing a lot more shorts and lives, but we will get back to the longer videos as well. Let's see. I'm looking at the chat really quick, making sure Karen asked what variety was the heliotrope. Sorry, we haven't got to that yet. I love that plant. Karen says, we loved that plant. That was a contender for a favorite. The variety was just Aeromagica. Sorry, I blinked out for a minute. Yeah. It's a Heliotropium arborescens.
Yes.
I think.
Yes.
Oh, I don't have that in front of me. Maybe I'll look that up really quick for you.
It's right there.
I wrote it. I said it correctly too. Sometimes I question myself.
Latin's fun.
Heliotropium arborescens is the variety or the botanical name. You can find that at Proven Winners. We know they have that one online ready to go. And it is just this gorgeous, gorgeous purple. It had a great resistance to powdery mildew, which we really appreciated in our climate. And the bees absolutely love that plant.
Definitely. Yeah.
So that was fun.
So you guys, you know what? We're getting short on time here. We kind of have to wrap it up for the next session to start, the inspiration session. So we want to thank you for being here. This has been really fun for us to present a totally different way and topic for us to present from what we're used to. Thank you for being here. Thank you for all of your amazing and fun questions.
That was really fun. I hope we hope you guys enjoyed that, and we hope that you maybe got a little bit of new inspiration for this coming year. It's always fun to think about new plants. We get really excited.
So make sure again to click through on all the different sponsors for the Great Grow Along, especially Epic Gardening being that title sponsored. Also, there's a giveaway going on. There's a $1,500 giveaway of prizes and products. So you need to enter. You got to get in there, and it's on the. I think it's just down below on the screen of your player.
Yeah, definitely. And so we'll be back with you later today. There's going to be a really fun inspiration session coming up, and then we've got Resh Gala coming up after that, and then Jacques and Kevin will be here later today.
Yep.
So definitely stay tuned, and
we'll see you in a little bit. We'll be back. So
bye, everybody. Thank you so much.